Support for Mission Nonprofit is provided by Thurston Talk.
Hi, I'm Robert Cam, and you're watching Mission Nonprofit. Each month, we connect with local organizations and agencies that are making a positive impact in our communities. We've invited Avalon Kragness and Erie Alexander from Olympia Lamplighters to talk about their work. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
Erie, how long has Olympia Lamplighters been going on, and how did it get started?
So we opened in October 4th of 2019. And it got started kind of in the summer of that year. A friend and I were looking for studios. We're local artists. And Tiger and I were trying to find a place to just work on artwork, start to get our businesses going. Getting a business in art started is complicated, to say the least. And it was so difficult for us to find a place that was affordable. Like getting a studio, even if it's just like a small room, it's somewhere around $300, $400 a month. And for people who are paying their rent and just trying to get started, that's not happening. And unfortunately, I'm one of those people that if I'm in my house, I'm distracted by everything. So there's no way for me to work inside the house. I have to have an outside studio. And so we ended up talking and saying, okay, if we're having trouble finding all of this space, there's other people having trouble finding this space. And we went and talked to a friend of ours who agreed to put up a $50,000. His name is Chad Holland, a friend of ours, Chad Holland, who put up he gave us the seed money to start the business, to start a co-working space for artists, because we wanted to have a studio where artists could work and create a community and everything like that. And we ended up adding Avalon as business manager and then asking her to jump in as a partner. And yeah, so that's how it started. It was kind of a wild ride. We didn't quite know what we were doing, but I think that's kind of how you start any great adventure, right?
Yeah,
which is when they brought me in, because I was just finishing my business degree with a bachelor's of business with a specialization in small business and entrepreneurship. So the first meeting we had was, okay, this is what the idea that we have, how can we make it work? And within 15 minutes into the first meeting, it was, oh, by the way, we want to hire you as our business manager. And then the second meeting, literally 5 minutes into the meeting, they're like, oh, well, we don't want to hire you as our business manager. We want to make you a partner instead. And so we just got the ball rolling really quickly. And then we opened the doors October 4th of 2019. We did start as an LLC and then recently switched over to nonprofit.
Okay, great. And Avalon, so we've talked about like the art space. What are some of the other things that you have in your space, which is downtown, like across from the Reef?
Yes.
So what other things can people do there, and why should people go?
We have a lot going on right now. We have the art gallery, which is huge for beginning artists. Our goal is to basically be that first stepping stone for artists so they can come in, sell their work. We have one of the lowest commissions in the city at 20%, which is a lot lower than some of the other places around. So we're that first stepping stone for artists to be able to come in, sell their work, to be able to get going and being able to provide for themselves. In addition to the gallery space, we have the co-working space. We also have a recording room. So we have a 4x4 professional grade sound booth that Erie uses for creating audio dramas and podcasts and voice acting. But we also have a recording room around it, and we have a volunteer right now who is a sound engineer and a band manager. And so we're able to record pretty much anything audio, whether you use the sound booth. For one of the big things that we also want to focus with the sound booth is for pretty much anyone who wants to record their life story as well. So for example, my father is the one that brought this up, is that for the elder generation, if instead of writing down their life story to pass on to their children and their grandchildren, you can come in and record it and then be able to just hand out that digital form of it, so that way you don't have to spend, you know, however long writing it and then you end up not getting it finished or whatever. So between the voice acting, between, you know, the audio dramas, being able to do that, and then also we have a lot of musicians that are coming in right now, especially after everything that's happened in the past 2 years. There's a lot of people that are picking up hobbies, and one of those hobbies is making music. So being able to record it is an amazing thing. So in addition to the recording room, we also have a stage in the back. And it's a concrete room it's been sound treated as well. So we have the sound treatment in the stage room as well as the recording room. And we're working on doing live music shows. We're also gonna be having our first drag show in September, fingers crossed. So we're gonna start doing monthly drag shows. What am I forgetting?
Classes.
Classes. We have a ton of classes. Yes. We have a weekly figure drawing class that it's more of a workshop. People come in, we have the models. Sometimes I have to model. But people just work on their figure drawing. I teach a beginner's class after the figure drawing class. I'm planning on teaching a watercolor class soon. We're going to have a still life class coming soon. I know Avalon is working on getting a quilting class. We're looking at introducing children's classes. Some of the children's classes targeted towards children with disabilities or autism that might need a bit more attention and patience with working on different artistic works with them. It's very busy. I'm also talking to a bunch of drag queens about like getting drag classes in so that the younger generation can, you know, kind of connect with other people who want to do that kind of art. So it's busy, and I'm excited about that.
Just an all-around art space.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. I think we probably just briefly touched on all those classes that you have.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned quilting. You've got the drawing.
Writing classes as well. We have an instructor that's hopefully going to be coming in soon for a writing class.
Mm-hmm.
So you're kind of adding as you're going along too.
Yes.
All the time you're having different classes and new classes.
I have been networking like crazy lately, and so we've got a lot of people.
People to teach classes as well as people to take classes?
Absolutely. We're always looking for teachers. We have one teacher that I just recently met who has a certification in teaching those with disabilities. One of the things, that's the one that's going to be teaching our children's class here soon. This person also teaches people with Alzheimer's to be able to help them cope with their disability and be able to kind of just bring that fun back into their life. So they are amazing and going to be coming in and teaching people with disabilities in the space. So that's one of our newest teachers that we've got coming in. As Erie said, I'm going to be doing a quilting series, just really bringing in as many different teachers as we can to be able to continue the hobbies that everybody has started doing throughout everything that's happened the past 2 years, and to continue that mental health side of things, of being able to be creative and to be able to continue that. Because our goal with this organization is to break down the barriers in between each different type of artist, because there's a lot of invisible barriers between, say, a painter and a singer, or a writer and a painter. So if we can break down those barriers and have this creative space where everybody can inspire each other, everybody can start creating things together. That is our whole goal with creating that safe space. But it's also teaching the younger generation, hey, this is something that is viable, that you can absolutely do, even if it's not your main career. It's something that you use as an outlet to be able to find and keep that creative side of you going.
And I can see how they could all work together too. Like maybe you make a song and then you can put some of the visual art to the music or something like that.
Exactly. We've had one group pre-COVID came in and shot a music video in our space.
Great.
And then we had another organization come in and shoot a documentary there.
Yeah, I mean, as a community space, it's so important to us that it be available to as many people as possible, and that all of those people can share their experiences and their worldviews and the way that they interact with art with each other. Because I truly believe that the only way that we can grow as artists is by experiencing more and working with our fellow artists. If we just kind of section ourselves off in a little room and that's the only thing we ever see and that's the only thing we ever interact with, there's only so much that we're going to be able to create. And it's just, I mean, that's really what we want to make, is a space that allows people to bloom and grow and become better artists.
The space where you have the dances, is that separate from the recording space? And how many rooms are there? Because you've got the you've got the gallery, right?
We have the gallery. Room? So we're right on 4th Avenue, right in downtown. We have huge windows, so we're able to display all the artwork in the windows and on the walls on the edge of the room. So we have basically one giant room, and then the recording room kind of in the middle of it. So the recording room is its own room. Everything else is basically kind of open, and then the room with the stage is its own room as well. So yeah, there's really just 3 different rooms for all of this. So whenever we do the dances, we basically clear out the front area of all the tables, so that way we can do the dances there. Yeah,
we designed it to be kind of modular. If people are coming in and wanting to do a certain kind of art, but maybe they don't need a table for it. Like, the tables are movable, you can just put them somewhere else. They can extend or compact if we need them to. And so a lot of it is, we'd love to have a bigger space. I mean, I think everybody would, to some extent, love to have a bigger space. Yeah, I imagine, one day having a black box and having a separate stage for concerts and specific area for people who who want like a desk and want to do the co-working type stuff. But right now, we're doing what we can with the space, and so we have to be able to move things around and make space where space needs to be. So yeah, for the dances, we just kind of shove all of the tables from the front of the space into the back of the space on top of each other, and then there's enough space for people to dance.
Or the drag show happens probably in there too, right?
Well, the drag show is going to be back on the stage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that's in its own separate room.
Mm-hmm.
So what is scheduled now? Like, you said you were about to do the drag shows. Are they coming up? I mean.
So fingers crossed, the drag show will be on the 2nd Saturday of September. We're still working on it, and it also kind of depends on what regulations are going to happen here and there, of course.
And all.
We also have every Thursday, we have the figure drawing class from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock in the evening. And that's a drop-in class because we do it in like 30-minute chunks, so people can show up whenever to start drawing. We're not going to get upset with people showing up late. And then after that is the beginner class, and that's depending on if we have enough people to be in the beginner class. But yeah, so that's every Thursday from 6 to 8. We also have free nights on Tuesday nights. So after 5 o'clock, the space is open. We're not charging the $10 use fee for the day. People can come in. We usually have like a artist night or we call it Darn It All in Stitch, like the crafting night, or we have writer's tea.
Which we co-host the writer's tea with Orca Books. And then also
Rogue Teas brings tea for us, which has been really nice. And then we also have game night. So, we're trying to make things as accessible as possible. Even during the day, if people, like they can come and talk to us if they're interested in being members. I mean, $10 a day is not a huge amount to worry about, especially for the whole day if you're using the space for multiple hours. But people who want memberships, they can come and talk to us about scholarships, partial scholarships. We want to help people use the space. We want to help people come in and participate.
Membership.
Mm-hmm.
Is it an option that you can either pay a $10 day use fee, or you can become a member and not have to pay when you come in? Is that
correct?
True?
Absolutely.
So the membership is a monthly membership. Just to use the space, it's $75 a month. We also have a recording membership, which gives you 2 hours a week in the recording room, which does need to be scheduled so that way everybody can use it. But that's $100 a month. And then we also have individual desks for rent, which would be an extra $50.
If somebody wanted to use your recording space, do they need to provide their own engineer, or does somebody work the board, or do they just need to know how to use it themselves and just do it themselves?
It depends. So if they know how to use it themselves, there is a basic board, and we have a laptop with a recording program on it that people can use if they know the basics of how to record and they're recording something standard. They can also talk to us, and if they schedule it at a time that I'm there, I can sit there and do basic sound engineering. Like, I know how to use the board, and I know how to make sure that everything's running and it's being recorded. We have the member that we mentioned earlier who's helping us with our sound room. So he's a sound engineer, and he's available. It's an extra $50 an hour on top of the recording room fee, which is $30 an hour. But he is willing to come and work as a sound engineer. So we do have people volunteering, or who are, you would pay to come in and be sound engineers that we have connections with. So.
Are there any classes at this point on how to be a sound engineer? And
we are working on that.
We are working on
that. There you
go.
We are definitely working on that. Sage is our volunteer sound engineer. He has a lot of contacts in the music world, a lot of contacts. And so he's working with various different peoples about doing mentorships and doing internships. And there's a lot of things coming down the pike that we're working on doing that we're really, really excited for. I don't know how much of it I can say because of,
you don't want to,
in planning stages.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you don't want to tell people that something that's not true or not going to happen. Just
exactly,
yet.
exactly.
Yeah. Now you're able to display artwork in the gallery space.
Yes.
What about like showing other forms of artwork? Is there a way to put people's music like out there?
So we don't have a way to do that currently. That is something that we are working on, to being able to display music. So we do, however, are working on doing like a once or twice a month live music show in the back with the stage. We do have one show coming up in towards the end of September.
The 4th Saturday, I believe.
Yeah. So we do have a music show coming up the end of September, a live music show, and we are working on doing like maybe 1 or 2 a month. So that is an option, and one of the big things with that as well is we want to make sure that we get people in that may not necessarily be able to have a venue to be able to play like any other types of venues. So like the LGBTQ crowd, the minors.
Yeah, minors
because
is big.
we don't.
They can't go to clubs.
We don't have any. We don't have any drinks. We don't have anything like that. Which is the other reason why we want to do the drag show, is because it allows the minors to be able to participate as well, because it's not an alcohol space, it's not a bar, it's not anything like that. So with our live music, with the drag shows, we can have minors participate in it, or anybody that's under 21, because we don't have those other things.
Yeah. We are planning to have at least once a month Gala Nights, like gallery nights. And so on those nights, anybody, we could more than likely have music performers if they want to perform something that's more gallery appropriate, or if there's artwork that's maybe audio visual or something like that, that might be a little bit easier for us to be able to like place on a gallery night where it's not also a co-working space at the same time. So when we have the opportunity to very much turn the front space into just a gallery, that's when we can introduce a lot more different types of pieces of artwork.
Now you did have like a dance at Pride Week. You kind of had the Pride Festival basically at your facilities.
Yeah.
It sounds like Erie's going to talk about that.
Yeah, so we hosted Pride this year, which was really awesome. We had Natalie Koblenz, who is currently the person running Olympia Pride, came and asked us to use the space, and I was more than happy to have like a tiny dance party and to have the video recording in the back of on our stage room. It was wonderful. I had a lot of fun, and we actually host once a month on the first Saturday of the month. We have a Pride dance party basically, and that is free for anybody to attend. We just kind of encourage donations to help us keep our doors open, but I don't Olympia is such a wonderful, colorful place, but we've lost a lot of LGBTQ hotspots and a lot of like places where
Jake's
people who
closed
are
down.
queer can go. And on top of that, like Avalon was saying, a lot of people, if they're minors or if they don't like drinking or so on and so forth, like all of a sudden it's like, okay, where do I go? How do I meet people? How do I go have fun? And so just having, you know, somebody DJing and having a fun little dance party where people can come and there's somebody keeping an eye on things and it's not wild and crazy. We've been having a lot of fun.
You know, I used to go to the Eagles Ballroom where they have the swing dance, and I'm going to have to come to your place now.
Yeah.
But do you have that? Do you have a lot of minors coming? Because they do. They have teenagers coming. It's a great, healthy environment for them.
Yeah. I used to go to the Eagles Ballroom too. At this point, I've been working kind of late in the evenings on Tuesdays, so I haven't been able to go to the swing dance there. But I really enjoyed it, and I know a lot of the younger people that go, and a lot of them were really excited about me running the blues and fusion dance and starting the swing dance over at my space. People love more spaces to dance. That's always fun. So yeah, that's a really big thing for me, is making sure that there's a safe place for anybody who wants to come and learn. And so I definitely have had younger people come in, and they'll be nervous, but there's always people there who are willing to talk to them and introduce them and teach them how to do the dance, even if they miss the lesson or something. And so it's definitely a really fun environment, and I endeavor to make it a safe environment too.
Well, for people watching, we might as well mention your website so they can go and look at this, and there's all this information is on there, and that is Lamplighters.com.
Yep.
Okay, so they can look that up. They can donate, because you're going to need donations as a nonprofit.
Yes, absolutely.
We have the donation link on the website. We have a GoFundMe, and we also have the PayPal Me, which is the link that's on the website as well.
Yep.
And what about volunteering? What do you need volunteers for? Obviously you do, right? Because you're a nonprofit.
So right now, with the volunteers that we're looking for, to people help us keep the space clean. It's a lot of concrete, and so there's a lot of dust that comes from being all of the concrete.
Yeah.
So we need help with cleaning. We also need help with the dances, like maybe having a bouncer. Or having some people to just kind of watch to make sure everything's okay. There's no stray people coming in that shouldn't be there, that kind of thing.
For the dances, it's always useful for me to have volunteers, people, because we do have tickets for blues and fusion and for swing, and so it's always nice to have someone at the front desk to welcome people and take care of tickets. And then anybody who's wanting to volunteer and help set up, take down, always helpful, because otherwise it's me and like one other person trying to move like 5 gigantic tables back and forth. So,
and also a DJ too, right?
yeah, anybody who's interested in DJing for any of the dances, come
I'm
talk
sure
to me.
there's lots of people that would want to DJ some dances.
Yeah.
They just need to get on your website, look up the volunteering page, and
yeah, we don't have a volunteering page. It's easier with the volunteers and everything. I can definitely set something up online, but it's been easier to just talk to them when they come in, because the person at the front desk always knows what's going on. There's only 4 of us, and so we can kind of help them fill out the volunteer form and see what exactly it is that they want to help with. Because we've definitely run into a couple of people who are like, oh, I want to volunteer, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, what can I volunteer with? And so it helps to have somebody be able to be like, okay, so this is what we need help with, this is what's going on, because it changes every day. Like there's so many different things that we need assistance with, that getting it up on the website, it would be the same form with half of the information.
And I'm assuming that there's no age requirement on anything that you do. Is that correct? Like, what about classes? What about the figure drawing?
So the way that we have it is anybody that's coming in to take a class that is like 13 or younger needs to have a parent present.
Okay.
Just for safety, for everything else, we just would really like to have a parent guardian present for anybody that's 13 or under. Anybody that's 13 or over, we would like to at least have the parent or guardian come in, just so that way they can see the space, they know where their kid's at, and then they can go do something else while the child is working on something, and that's fine. So there's really not an age limit.
There is an age limit for the figure drawing class.
Okay.
Only because
there might be nudes, right?
There are nude models. So that is an 18 and up class.
That's understandable.
Yeah. But beyond that, like Avalon was saying, we're not really concerned. We're not necessarily doing anything that we would be concerned of people coming in who are younger. We just want to make sure that if there are younger people coming in, like Avalon said, their parents know where they are. And then in certain cases, if they're young enough, we're not responsible for them necessarily. So having an adult, making sure that the adult is there watching the child is important.
Is that the same with the dances too? Would you like parents to kind of get to know the space? And is it also like 13 and up for those?
Most of the dances, yeah,
Unless
they're going to be
parents with
older.
them. Okay, good. Oh my gosh, we're almost out of time. I need to give you guys each a minute to talk about anything we didn't talk about that you want to bring up. So let's start with you, Avalon.
We're really looking for donors, people to be able to help us with scholarships. We have one amazing donor right now who has been with us through thick and thin that I think is one of the most amazing people in the world. She's literally our guardian angel. I don't know where we would be without her. But we've had a lot of donations with our sound equipment. With our sound treatment, we had that created and donated to us by Valhalla Construction. And so that really allowed us to set up our sound room as well as the stage room. And then, as far as like events are coming up, we're working on doing fundraising. We just signed up as being a charity, so we're going to be working on that as well. But our next fundraiser is going to be October 8th, which is going to be an art gala and a silent auction. And hopefully have some performances and things like that as well there. So if there's anybody that wants to donate like little things for the silent auction, artists that would like to come in and have their work shown for the gala, we definitely want people to come in and talk to us about that.
Awesome. Okay. And Erie, do you have anything you would like to bring up that we didn't talk about?
I think thanking everybody that has been helping us out immensely. Natalie Kobleds, Sage Rykowski. They've been absolutely amazing with all of the sound equipment and construction and crazy weird projects that just keep coming out of nowhere. But yeah, everybody that's kind of kept us afloat and been there to keep us together has been amazing. I guess the big thing that I would say is if you think that there's an art class or event or something that we're missing, don't hesitate to come talk to us. I think the only things that we're kind of like limited on are maybe like ceramics and glass blowing. We can't necessarily install those in our space, but other than that, if you want to teach, if you want to learn something, we'll figure it out. The only way we can grow is through community assistance. So the community, let us know what you want to see, and we'll work towards it.
All right, excellent.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the time we have for you today. Please visit their website at olylamplighters.com. You can also find them on Facebook at Olympia Lamplighters. See you next time.
Support for Mission Nonprofit is provided by Thurston Talk.